Hello, everyone, and welcome. I am Vontina Collick with In My Hands Handmade Crafts, and you can see the title 4 Years and 4 Months to Debt Freedom. That is how long it took me to be debt free, and I can say I made it. Whew, and it was long and it was not easy, and there are many, many days I wanted to stop. Believe me, I wanted to stop. But I was in, I think it was $150,000 worth of debt. And a good portion of that was mostly student loans. I didn't really have a whole lot of credit card debt. It was a good portion of it was student loans. So a trigger happened when I could not purchase. I wanted to purchase something, and it was a huge purchase, and so it caused a trigger when I could not afford to make that purchase. And so then at that time, I said, you know what, I'm tired of this. I'm sick of it. There is no reason why I should be in this position because I have a decent job. I don't waste money. I am a saver. And so, why am I here? And so, that is when I started following the Ramsey Solution program, the 7 baby steps. I started following that. So started it. I started cutting, slashing everything that I could. But the two things that I could not pull the trigger on that was very hard for me was stopping my retirement account gun ho. I could not do it. And only having $1,000 in savings. Those were the two things that I could not follow on the 7 baby step program. Those were the two things I couldn't let it go. I just couldn't do it because I was also looking at my age and that I had no intentions of working any longer than I had to. And so at that moment, into my second year, I uh, I took my retirement savings up to max it out every year, and I also started. I put more money towards my emergency fund. And when I did those two things, it just made it a whole lot better for me. It was calming for me. And so I just left that there. I pretend that none of that was going on. And then I started focusing on what was in front of me, what my net pay was. And so I just kept throwing every dime that I could muster into getting rid of the debt. So I got rid of my credit card debt first. Yes, cut up all those credit cards. And I also put a freeze on my credit reports because I had no intentions of applying for anything. So I froze all of that. And within that year I was done with the credit cards, and so I only had the student loan left. And so that when as time went forward, then we ran into COVID. The world shut down. And so at that time, March of 2020, the Trump administration announced a suspension of federal student loans. Well, I was like, oh my gosh, that is fabulous because I can continue making my payments. But guess what? All $700 will go towards my principal. So my student loans were almost $800 a month. And so now all of that money of course, with at 6% interest. So now all of those payments now with no interest can go to my principal. So at the close of that year, I had paid off two student loans, and that was a total of $46,000. Got those two paid. Now came the huge loan because I had four loans that were consolidated. So two. So the first two I got paid off. And so now I was working on the larger amount of student loan. And so because the student loans every time it was time for them to run out, the suspension was getting extended. That was helping me more and more and more because I can continue paying and it was all going to principal. And so that was bringing my numbers down. Now, I was in the public loan forgiveness program, and I actually got in that program in 2013. And so I had no intentions of leaving that program because I had I had put a lot of time and effort into that program. And so because of the suspensions that we continue to get during the pandemic, that really helped me. And also our payments, we were still being getting qualified payments every month. Regardless if you were paying or you decided to not pay or you decided to continue paying, but you were still getting your qualifying payments. And so in doing so, that was helping me to get my payment, get my qualifying payment every month. Plus, I was also making payments every month. And so then when the administration changed to the Biden administration, and then that administration extended the suspension, again, that helped me a lot. I'm still, knocking this number down because my thing was no matter what happened, when it was time to start paying those back, my goal was not to have the same amount from 2020 up until whenever we start paying it back. I was not going to have all of that money still sitting there on my account. And so I just continue on, and I also continue doing my budget. I still do a budget, but I did my budget faithfully every month. And also I had my envelopes. So I had money for personal, for myself to spend, for food, and for my gas. And even now, I still take those funds out. I also keep track of my net worth, what was coming in, what's going out. I knew where every penny went. When I got my paycheck every 2 weeks, I knew where every dime was going. And then I got used to being without cable anyway. So then I have all of the free stations to look at everything. And I did so I got rid of cable, but I did keep the internet because I needed the internet because I also needed to work. Okay. And so just continued on through the through everything, staying on top of everything. And so then when the Biden administration came in, they made changes to the public loan forgiveness program, which really helped me again because I had 62 payments out there that did not count. And so when they made changes to the program, those 62 payments were added to my qualifying for me to qualify. And so then in April of 2022, I received a letter that said, "Congratulations, you have satisfied your obligation. No additional payments are required." I was forgiven for the last portion of my student loan. And even now, that was at 20, I am still thinking about it because I worked so hard at that. So I was grateful that everything got suspended because I was still able to pay off a good portion of it. And it was it all went to principal. I didn't have to pay that interest. So the only thing I do have left is my home, and I am on target to retire September of 2025. And so I am so happy and grateful to be debt free. And it was, like I said, it was hard, but you can do it. If you set your mind to it, you can do it. But what I will share with you is to keep one thing. I got rid of everything. I am a entrepreneur and I am a handbag maker. And so I had subscription boxes, I had magazines, I had a lot of things that sort of kept me kept me busy. And so when I stopped all of those subscriptions and everything, and I sort of got a little down. So what I tell people now from my experience, if you have some type of subscription or you get magazines or something that you like to do, you like to get your nails done all the time, you like to, there's maybe a play or a place where you like to visit whenever they have something going on, please add that into your budget. Add it into your budget, that you will still be able to do that one thing, even if you get rid of everything else to, bring in your budget, but keep one thing. So that way every month you will have that one thing, and that could be as a reward or a gift for you. And that is what I said. I do tell people, and I suggest that, because I wish I had did that instead of just wiping everything out. And I should have kept at least one thing that I would have gotten every month. And that would have also kept me moving forward and not feeling down or like, oh my gosh, I can't get anything. So I do suggest that. But you can do this. Yes, it is a little tough, but you can do it. Home in on what works for you. As I said, the 7 baby steps through the Ramsey program, it is good, but it didn't work for me. Um, there is no way I can just have $1,000 in savings. And I could not pull the trigger on stopping my retirement account until I was out of debt. I didn't know how long it was going to take me to get out of debt, and it took me 4 years and 4 months. And had I, for me personally, had I got stopped, that's 4 years and 4 months that I would have lost, and I'm not going to recoup it. So those were the two things that I just could not pull the trigger on. And also with the government always having these issues of not creating a budget every year, and we're shutting down, and or potentially the fear of shutting down. There is no way I could pay my bills on $1,000 in the bank. So I was not going to empty my emergency fund. I was not going to do that. And so I am so glad that I stuck to what worked for me. As I said, I did the rest of the program, but those were the two things that I could not pull the trigger on. And so I just want to say you can do it, and just keep pushing along. Do your budget. If you don't want to call it the word budget, I call mine mine was called a cash flow management. That's what I called mine. If you don't like the word budget, pick a word that works for you. But if you stick with it, if you know where your money is going, you can do this. And yes, and you can treat yourself, again, fit it in your budget. So I want to thank you for joining me. And the name of my company is In My Hands Handmade Crafts. So thank you so very much. And please head on over to YouTube. My YouTube channel is In My Hands Handmade Crafts with Vontina. And check me out. See what's going on. See what I'm talking about. Have a great one. Bye bye.